Hello, welcome to Godfather Barbecue and Italian. Today we've got a home run for you. Okay, um, probably my favorite. It's really up in the top three, one or two between this and Sunday gravy for pasta dishes. It's penne alla vodka. Okay, don't get overwhelmed. Don't freak out. This is a simple recipe. The ingredients are a little bit cumbersome, but they all come together in one pan. Aside from the pasta, okay. Quick backstory on this. In the late 80s, early 90s, um, I was introduced to this by a famous chef in Boston. He was one of our accounts. We had a wholesale meat business, and obviously you develop relationships and whatnot, which was really nice. And we'd frequent the restaurants that we had accounts with, and it was great. You got treated like royalty. It was nice. And he was a great guy, great, phenomenal chef. Taught me a lot of things besides this. So our family, I mean, if you asked us what penne alla vodka was, and especially my grandparents and parents, they were like, "This is definitely an Italian American thing." Okay, and it's wonderful. So long story short, we went in for dinner one night. This really boomed right around that time frame between the here comes here comes the dogs. So one of the viewers had asked. I told them they'd be maybe making an appearance soon. You guys want to say hi? There's nothing cooked yet. Says Momo Gus. Gus, behave. You're on camera. Gus and Momo. So this recipe really started booming in the United States right around that time period, late 80s, early 90s. And he had come up. He was, experimented with it. We had put our order in. He walked up to the table with a dish for us to sample. He said, "Hey, try this out." And I looked at it. It was kind of pinkish orange. It looked beautiful. And I said, "What is this?" And he said, "Penne alla vodka." That sounds weird. Vodka and pasta. He said, "Just try it." So I tried it, and I was hooked. Okay, so like addictingly hooked. So long story short, went in for the next week for my delivery. He pulled me aside, showed me how to make it. This is the exact recipe I had 30 some odd years ago. I know I'm dating myself. Anyway, I'm going to go over the ingredients, show you how to cook it. Again, don't be overwhelmed. It's a little cumbersome as far as what you have, but it's simple stuff. You probably have it all in your pantry. Um, I'm going to show you, this is a blank canvas meal, meaning the protein you have with it, it's completely up to you. A lot of people just have the penne alla vodka, no protein, okay? So I'm going to show you that, how you make that. And then I've got some shrimp I had in the freezer that I just cooked up real quick. So my family likes to have a little protein with it. I use chicken, sausage. You can use meatballs, whatever you like, shrimp. So the ingredients go as follows. We have some extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons of butter. I've got one small to medium onion diced up, salt, black pepper, a few leaves of basil, some chopped parsley, fresh parsley. I'm going to use about a half a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of crushed red. If you don't like it spicy, don't use it. If you do like it spicier, use more. Vodka, the star of the show. There's something about this, and I forget what exactly it does, but there's something, a reaction between the vodka and the tomatoes when you cook them that gives it an incredible dynamic in terms of what it turns into. So we're going to use 4 ounces of vodka. Half of this is 8 ounces, a half pint. We're going to use 2 cups. This full thing is 16 ounces of heavy cream. I'm going to use about 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. If you can use Parmesan, not Romano. Romano tends to, when you use it in a pan, even in a sauce, it can get sticky and messy. And at the end of the day, the taste isn't going to really be that different. You're not going to use a ton of it. And I use here, this is completely optional. I like to use some chopped pancetta. It's hard to find. It's a cured Italian bacon. If you can't find it, you can use prosciutto. You can use regular domestic bacon, chop it up. It just gives it a nice smoky background. A lot of people don't use it at all, so don't freak out if you don't have it, okay? I have my shrimp, which again isn't really part of this recipe, but I'm going to throw it in at the end. Whatever protein you decide to use, if you do, cook it off beforehand. It's only going to spend about 5 minutes at the end. And I've got 1 pound of penne pasta. Make sure you salt your water. That's mainly what this salt is for. We will use a little salt and pepper in the penne sauce as well. All right, so I'm going to get to work here. It comes together real simple, real quick, real fast, and enough talking, and we'll get back to you with some cooking action in a minute. All right, so I've gotten here about 1.5, 2 tablespoons of butter, salted butter, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. First thing into the party is the pancetta or bacon or prosciutto or nothing, whatever you want to do, okay? So I'm going to brown this. I'm not really going to get it too crispy. I just want it to have a mellow background, but I don't want it chewy either, okay? We're going to give this a couple minutes. Smells delicious already. All right, so I got this a nice, beautiful brown here. Keep in mind, it's still going to continue to cook with the onions. And I failed to mention 2 things earlier. I don't use garlic in this. I know a lot of penne alla vodka recipes use just garlic or onion and garlic. I find it tends to make it a little bitter, and I don't particularly care for it. If you like everything else, put it in. Just not for me. It's not the way I was shown how to make it, so therefore I don't. So I'm going to add the onions in. I don't really need to salt them. Usually when I saute onions, I always salt to help them sweat, but there's plenty of salt in this pancetta. If you are making it without it, do salt the onions a little bit to help them sweat and get rid of the water. This won't take long. This is just going to soften these onions up for 3 or 4 minutes. The other thing I failed to mention, 28 ounces of tomato puree, a good Italian brand if you can. If you can't find puree, crushed is fine. I like the puree because of the smooth texture. This should be a real smooth sauce, at least the way I was trained to make it and used to having it, and all the restaurants serve it around here in that manner. So that's the way I do the tomatoes. I keep this moving so nothing sticks and nothing burns as far as the pancetta goes. See that fond starting to develop at the bottom of the pan. Scrape that away. When I put the vodka in, that'll be gone. Which, speaking of the devil, I'm going to add about half of this, 4 ounces, okay? Be careful if you're using an open flame. That's it. Just the right amount. I'm going to stir this in. For the sake of time, I'm going to flambe this. If you're not comfortable doing this at home, just let this reduce by half. But we're going to do it this way. It's the way I was trained. Kind of nice. As soon as that flame goes out, the alcohol's out of it. Okay? This is a dish that's important to get the alcohol out. All of it. So again, if you're not flambeing it, let it reduce to at least half of what you see. And you already see it starting to reduce. Let that just cook off. Perfect. So we are ready to rock and roll with this. I do have my pasta water going in the back because this comes together quick from here. So to the party, we're going to add our tomatoes. Again, about a half teaspoon of crushed red, or more if you like, or none if you like. I put that in now so it doesn't burn at the earlier point. I know some people put it in the beginning, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to go with about a teaspoon of salt. Same on the pepper. Give that a mix. I need my oregano. Not a big fan of oregano, but I am in 2 dishes. This one and pasta fazool, which we'll be doing shortly, hopefully. So again, about a teaspoon of oregano. Okay, and the other important thing too, I'm going to add a couple of leaves of basil in here. Another important thing too on your pasta, save about a cup or so of the pasta water, because this, if it ends up being too thick, it's good to use pasta water, not regular water. The pasta water has starch in it, and it'll keep the body of the sauce together, and you won't lose any flavor that way. If you add water to it, that's exactly what you'll do. You end up watering your sauce down, and nobody wants a watered down vodka sauce. But nobody wants a real thick, clumpy vodka sauce either. So I'll show you the texture that I like and that we use. You like it thicker, do it thicker. You like it thinner, add more cream or put more pasta water in there. All right, so I'm going to let this go. I'm going to drop my pasta. This only needs to go 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And at that point, my pasta will be ready. I'm going to add my cream and Parmesan cheese, my protein. Let that cook for another 5 to 10 minutes at that point. I'm going to continue to stir this, by the way, too. And then at that point, once the cream and the cheese and whatever protein you're using are added, you're going to cook it for another 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be an exact time with this, whenever you think you like it. But you'll see the dramatic color change, too. All right, so I'm going to go drop my pasta. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to lower the heat a little bit. Let this simmer for 15, 20 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, so we're back. Pasta's done. This has been rolling about 20 minutes or so. If you can see, it's see how it's thickening out. I've been stirring it, simmering it on semi-low. I'm going to take a little pasta water here. Just thin it out. Remember, we're adding cream too, so don't go too crazy, but that's perfect. I want it to look like a thick tomato sauce at this point. And don't worry, this is not going to hurt your flavor because the starch is going to remain or keep everything remaining the same texture and flavor and seal everything in. Okay. I'm going to use about half of my parsley here just for a little flavor. Believe it or not, if flat leaf will give you a little bit of flavor. And I'm going to go in with my cream. Go slow with this. I'm going to give it time to temper. Not really temper, but adjust to cooling this down. Once you got a little in, go ahead with the rest. Okay, I'm going to turn my heat back up to medium. This will all come together nicely. Don't worry, I know it looks like chaos right now. It's going to give you a beautiful pink. Color. See that texture? That's perfect. And that when I put the pasta back in, will thicken up a little bit more once I add the pasta to it, rather. Okay, I'm going to wait till this comes up to a simmer. Then I'm going to slowly add the Parmesan. Don't put it all in, it'll clump up on you. Slowly stir that in so it doesn't clump and it won't stick. Then the shrimp and the pasta go in. Okay, so now I'm going to slowly add that Parmesan. Again, about 3/4 of a cup. If you like less, use less. If you like more, use more. See, slowly integrating it will prevent any clumping or sticking. Okay. Now I'm going in with the shrimp. Again, you can add the pasta from here and just have your regular penne alla vodka, or you can add your protein at this point. So those will go in my pasta. Look at this. Oh,
good.
Come on, man. 1 pound's just the right amount too. I'll make sure everything gets coated. And your pasta should be cooked al dente. Another thing I needed to mention, because it's going to continue to cook in here a little bit for 5 minutes or so. And you don't want it falling apart. And if you like it al dente at the end instead of regular, then pull it a minute before al dente. I know a lot of folks like al dente. I like to cook just the regular tenderness. Okay, I'm going to bring this to a simmer. Not all gloopy. It's got a nice flow to it. It's all coated, but it's not sticky. This is exactly how you want to see it. You don't see big strands of cheese. I must say myself, this is perfect. And I'm usually my worst critic. So, all right. So believe it or not, give this about 2 more minutes, and we're done. It's a 1-pot wonder. I'm gonna hit it with the, for aesthetics, a little more of the parsley. I'm gonna let this go, and then I'll be back, show you what it looks like all plated up and for presentation. All right, folks. So here it is. It's that time, dinner time. There it is. Perfect penne alla vodka. Simple, delicious. You probably have 90% of the stuff you need in your pantry. And I don't know if I've ever met anybody that didn't love it. So I hope that helps you put together a wonderful meal that you can really dazzle folks with, because it's truly incredible. Again, one of my favorites. I hope it becomes yours. And let me know how you make out in the comments. Please, if you can, help us out, subscribe, like, and share. Benefits us greatly. Take care. We'll see you next time.